Recently, the China Strategic Support Force published a popular science article about the Eagle Strike 21, or short for YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile on Weibo for the first time. This is the first time China has publicly acknowledged the existence of the YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile. It is also the first time that the outside world has learned some technical parameters of this hypersonic anti-ship missile. The official Weibo account of China's Strategic Support Force publicized the YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile in a popular science form, stating that it can achieve 10 times the speed of sound in the terminal attack phase, in which the U.S. Navy force is not able to intercept. The intention of releasing such data is not clear. It could be to send a message to the U.S. due to currently increased tension in the South China Sea. As the world's first sea-based hypersonic anti-ship ballistic missile deployed in actual combat, the news of the existing YJ-21 was leaked last year, when a short video clip of its launching circled online. If it was true as said that it was a small batch of trial installation at that time, then the direct disclosure now means the PLA Navy has actual combat capability. Plus, in the later of last year, the export version YJ-21E was displayed in the China Air Show, which further indicates the YJ-21 has been deployed on the Type 055 guided missile destroyer. Judging from the current batch entry of Type 055 guided missile destroyers into service, it is believed that a lot of YJ-21 could have been equipped as standard now and going forward. It is even possible to deploy YJ-21 to 052C and 052D type guided missile destroyers too. Before the YJ-21 was officially equipped, the PLA Navy included 3 types of anti-ship missiles as standard, which are YJ-83, YJ-18, and YJ-12. Although they are all Eagle Strike's family, they belong to 3 different striking levels. JY-83 is small in size, but mature and reliable. It is an early subsonic anti-ship missile. The penetration ability is weak per the modern Air Defense Force standard. The YJ-18 is a combination of subsonic and supersonic anti-ship missiles. It flies at subsonic speed for a long time, and conducts defense penetration attacks at terminal supersonic speed. Defense against YJ-18 is relatively difficult. The YJ-12 is a full-range supersonic anti-ship missile. The maximum flight speed can exceed Mach 3. The PLA Navy today attaches great importance to anti-ship combat capabilities. For a long time, the PLA has been lack of large bombers, until the H-6D bomber came out in the 1980s, which can carry anti-ship missiles. The newer H-6K bomber has only been in service for more than 10 years. It carried YJ-12 supersonic anti-ship missiles and can launch them about 400 kilometers away from the U.S. aircraft carrier battle group, but the premise is that the bomber must be effectively escorted and protected. Of course, the combat effectiveness of Eagle Strike 12 up to Mach 3 is also very powerful. But air defense and anti-missile systems are also constantly evolving. Therefore, it is necessary to equip missiles with longer range, faster speed, and more complex schemes. The flight speed of the YJ-21 in the cruising segment exceeds Mach 6, which is twice as fast as that of the YJ-12 at Mach 3. Moreover, the penetration section can reach a maximum of Mach 10, which is equivalent to flying at 3,400 meters per second. It can be said that any current anti-missile system and terminal interception defense system cannot intercept it at this flight speed. In addition to the speed, the YJ-21 also uses a double-cone warhead design. After re-entering the atmosphere, through aerodynamic control and rudder surface control, the double cone will yield an angle of attack. The small cone at the head will produce an asymmetrical shock wave under the action of air resistance, which will generate an additional lift. With the help of this lift force, the YJ-21's flight trajectory similar to water skimming can be achieved at the edge of the atmosphere. As a result, its maneuvering orbits become unpredictable. It is almost impossible for the enemy to intercept. Moreover, the latest Type 055 guided missile destroyer is very maneuverable at sea. Equipped with the YJ-21, it can have a huge advantage over the enemy in sea control operations, and it also poses a severe challenge to the existing maritime anti-missile defense system. In July of 2021, the U.S. Navy conducted a test with the standard 6-level air defense system. But the result revealed it could not shoot down the simulated medium-range ballistic missile. Standard 6-level is even not capable of intercepting the DF-21D and DF-26 missiles, which leads to believe that it is unlikely capable of intercepting the YJ-21 hypersonic missile. The combat radius of the U.S. Navy's carrier-based fighter jets is within 1,000 kilometers. The YJ-21 has a range of 1,000 kilometers to 1,500 kilometers, which means that it can attack it outside the air defense zone of the U.S. aircraft carrier strike group. Facing the YJ-21 with an attack speed of Mach 10 in the final penetration stage, the U.S. aircraft carrier battle group probably doesn't even have a chance to fight back. As the official Weibo account of the Chinese Strategic Support Force mentioned, as long as an enemy ship is locked and tracked by the YJ-21 anti-ship missile at sea, there is no possibility of escape. Theoretically speaking, only one of these 055 destroyers is needed that carries enough YJ-21 missiles to attack the U.S. aircraft carrier strike group and can make the entire strike group lost its combat effectiveness. The range of the YJ-21 is quite impressive. As a vertically launched hypersonic missile, not only is it much higher than the 400 kilometers of the YJ-12 strike range, it is also farther than the 500 kilometers of the YJ-18 strike range. With a range of more than 1,000 kilometers, the 055 type destroyer can launch attacks relatively safely as a launch platform. Relying on the powerful reconnaissance and early warning capabilities of the PLA, it has enough combat power and confidence to attack aircraft carrier strike group. For an aircraft carrier battle group with the sea strike range is about 1,000 kilometers, it would be difficult for the PLA to engage an integrated attack from sea and air. The YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile can play a decisive role. With deployment of YJ-20, the 055 type destroyer can not only serve as the guard of the PLA aircraft carrier, but also has the ability to challenge the U.S. aircraft carrier strike group even if it is separated from its own aircraft carrier battle group to fight alone. With the assistance of airborne DF-17 and land-based DF-21D, the Type 055 destroyers equipped in batches of YJ-21 will play a significant role in refusing the U.S. aircraft carrier battle group intervenes and enters the first island chain. Regarding the high-profile disclosure of the YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile, it is believed that the following 3 points are worthy of in-depth discussion. The first point is that officially disclosed, the YJ-21 is a hypersonic vehicle that uses a double-cone warhead configuration, and the rear part of the projectile is boosted by a solid rocket engine, and the head of the projectile is a double-cone configuration glider. This type of glider has a high supersonic lift-to-drag ratio. It is thought to meet the requirements for gliding at hypersonic speeds. The export version YJ-21E, which debuted at the Zhuhai Air Show last year, has 2 technical performance data worthy of attention. One is that the maximum range is only 290 kilometers. This is because under the International Treaty on the Proliferation of Ballistic Missiles range is limited under 300 kilometers. The domestic version ranges 1,000 to 1,500 kilometers. The second is its flight height. At present, the Russian X-32 supersonic anti-ship missile has possessed the ability to fly in near space. The flight altitude of the middle section is about 40 kilometers, which is just beyond the up boundary of typical ship-to-air missiles and just below the low boundary of anti-re-entry ballistic missile interceptors. There is no reason to believe that China's hypersonic vehicles do not have similar capabilities. The second point is that the Weibo account posted this article as the Chinese Strategic Support Force. We know this force uses various strategic-level ground-based and space-based situational awareness systems. Apart from this, traditionally, we all know that there are several commonly guidance methods for anti-ship missiles. The first is the guidance by the ship, that is, to use the ship onboard radar to search on sea. This guidance method is limited by the sea level, and the search distance limited by the curvature of Earth. The search area is limited within a radius of about 50 kilometers. Depending on the sea wave height and weather conditions, there will be relatively large fluctuations. The onboard radar guidance mode is not able to play the long-range performance of anti-ship missiles. Therefore, several over-the-horizon guidance methods have appeared subsequently. One is to use helicopters and maritime patrol aircraft for relay guidance. For example, deploy helicopters and maritime patrol aircraft to the sea area 200 to 300 kilometers ahead of the main attack direction, and use helicopters and maritime patrol logic search radar to find targets. Anti-ship missiles use helicopters as waypoints. The second is to use a special system of guidance radar. For example, the OR-M Skywave radar equipped by the Russian Navy. Under proving sea conditions, the radar can ensure a search range of 300 to 400 kilometers. Under actual measurement conditions, cruiser-sized targets can be searched for at a distance of 200 kilometers. At present, the Chinese Navy has all these methods in the guidance of anti-ship missiles. Another example is the over-the-horizon sea search radar. Some Chinese destroyers and frigates are equipped with search radars with improved versions of the ORME type. But all these methods have problems. It is difficult to meet the objective requirements of future sea battle control operations. The ship's onboard search radar has a small situational awareness range and can only support to detect targets within the range of the surface antenna on the ship. With support from the actions of helicopters and sea surveillance aircraft, these two models are relatively vulnerable and have low battlefield survivability. The performance of over-the-horizon sea search radars also has problems such as relatively poor resolution, reduced search capabilities in specific sea areas and weather conditions, and difficulty in distinguishing ship types and aircraft types in actual combat. At the same time, although these three search modes can be used in combination, it is still difficult to achieve complementary advantages to offset disadvantages. For example, when a suspected target is found by the over-the-horizon sea search radar, if you use a maritime surveillance aircraft to search for the enemy, you will also have to face the problem of low battlefield survivability of this type of aircraft. Finally, the guidance range of hypersonic vehicles may be very large, requiring a high situational awareness of the sea area covered over 1,000 kilometers. In this case, those three search and guide methods mentioned above are completely unusable. So in this case, the China Strategic Support Force is needed. The PLA Strategic Support Force now includes various strategic-level ground-based situational awareness systems. Various space-based reconnaissance satellite constellations also belong to the Strategic Support Force. All kinds of sea surveillance aircraft and the Navy's own ship search radar cannot provide situational awareness to sea areas covered over 1,000 kilometers. This is why large land-based reconnaissance system and space-based reconnaissance satellites of the Strategic Support Force are used. The YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile carried by the Navy destroyer is fully supported by the Strategic Support Force and Air Force. Only in this way the YJ-21 can hit the moving target at sea, which can truly display the full performance of YJ-21 with long range and hypersonic speed. In fact, today there is no over-the-horizon onboard sea surveillance radar found on the current O-55 destroyer. It is believed that all depends on the space-based, land-based and sea-based surveillance systems with support of sea surveillance aircraft and strategic support forces to detect and track the targets, and guide missiles to strike the targets. The PLA Strategic Support Force published this article to clearly indicate a trend of further development of hypersonic anti-ship missiles. Finally, as the technical date of YJ-21 hypersonic anti-ship missile was released to the public by the Chinese Strategic Support Force, it seems that the aviation and surface warfare systems of the Chinese Navy and Air Force are basically finalized. Besides the strategic level of warfare, there are two lower warfare levels, namely tactical and operational levels. The tactical level surface warfare sea control system mainly relies on the YJ-83 anti-ship missile carried by the O-54 frigate, with a strike range of about 200 kilometers. The main guidance method relies on an onboard system of the ship. Maritime patrol aircraft radars can also be used for missile guidance. The main targets are secondary warships, auxiliary ships, and even unmanned ships. The operational level sea control in battle from air mainly relies on the H-6K bomber. In the future, J-16 fighter bombers may carry YJ-12A anti-ship missiles. The operational level surface warfare sea control system is mainly the JY-18 anti-ship missile carried on the Type 055 and Type 052D destroyers. The main guidance method is to rely on the sea-based and air-based situational awareness system consisting of maritime patrol aircraft and over-the-horizon radar to search for and support strike targets. With the YJ-21 hypersonic missile equipped, it means that China's operational level sea control combat system can already be supported by land-based and space-based situational awareness equipment by strategic support forces. This is of course a great technological progress in the history of the Chinese Navy.